Hello, and welcome to PodcastDX, the show that brings you interviews with people just like you, whose lives were forever changed by a diagnosis.
I'm Lita.
I'm Ron.
And I'm Jean Marie.
Collectively, we are the hosts of PodcastDX. This podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always ask the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider for any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment. And before undertaking any new healthcare regimen, never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard on this podcast.
And on today's show, we'll be taking a new look at glaucoma. Today, we're going to be interviewing Jean, who has glaucoma. For our listeners, glaucoma is actually a group of diseases of the eye. The most common form is called primary open-angle glaucoma. This affects about 3 million Americans, and it happens when the eye's drainage canals become clogged over time, similar to that of your drain pipe under your sink. When the correct amount of fluid doesn't drain, it builds up pressure on the inner eye. Unfortunately, because there are no obvious symptoms or warning signs, it usually goes undiagnosed and untreated for years. If caught early, though, it responds well to medication.
Thanks for that background information, Ron. We will be discussing other types of glaucoma at the end of today's show. Today's guest is also my grandmother, Jean. She is a spunky 85-year-old senior with 27 grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and she currently resides in the Chicago suburbs. And she's single, gentlemen.
Okay. Hello, Jean, otherwise known as my mom. Thank you for joining us today.
Well, I'm a healthy 85-year-old. I have no medical problems except for my eyes.
Jean, I understand it's been almost 10 years since you were diagnosed with glaucoma?
Doesn't seem that long. It wasn't like I was in any pain. It wasn't like I had headaches. It was more, I think I should get a new pair of glasses. And that's how it started.
Okay, well, you do look great, Graham. And you have great sparkling blue eyes.
While researching glaucoma, we found that at first there may not be any symptoms.
As Graham said.
Right. But as the disease progresses, a person with glaucoma may notice his or her vision gradually failing. Jean, did you have any symptoms that first led you to the doctor?
No, I was just noticing my glasses weren't cutting it. So I went to American Best, which is a special eyeglass company, for an eye test. And then they told me to go to Wheaton Eye Clinic to see a specialist because something wasn't right. I was really scared.
And how long before they found out that you had glaucoma?
It was pretty quick. It was within a week. I was told that I had lost 50% of my peripheral sight. My pressure was in around 30s.
Wow. Did you know what to expect when the doctors informed you that you had the glaucoma?
No, not at all. I didn't know what it was or anything about it, really, but the doctor was very helpful in explaining what was going on. I had to be so careful of making sure that I took the right drops for my eyes. I did have an operation.
Jean, I understand that you wound up needing surgery. Can you explain? Can you tell us a little bit about the surgery?
Well, my doctor, who was a wonderful man, very knowledgeable about glaucoma, Dr. Theodore Gruppen, was world renowned. I was lucky to have him at that time. He was a pioneer in the field. I was so sad to hear of his passing away a few years ago. I had the incisional operation where they created a drainage hole with a surgical tool. I couldn't do any heavy lifting or bending for about a week afterwards. I remember my eye was red and irritated with a lot of tearing for about a week.
Wow. Can you tell us what was the worst part about this process?
I always felt like I had something in my eye, something foreign matter. My vision was very blurred for a little more than a month.
Did anything help with the blurry vision? for the discomfort?
Well, resting my eyes often during the day, I would just stop what I was doing, close my eyes, held a cool, clean washcloth. I have a lot of trouble with light, sunlight, dark. It blinds me where I have a hard time walking because I'm afraid I'm going to fall.
Oh, that sounds really scary. I'm sorry, Graham. Do you take any medications now?
Well, every day I take 2 drops with a red cap, and I don't know the name of it. I take 1 drop with a blue cap. Again, I don't know what the name of it is.
Well, as long as you're able to keep those straight.
Right?
No kidding. Jean, has anything changed since you had your procedure?
Well, I don't drive anymore. I sold my car. I have trouble with light, like I said, and also in dark. I have an eye check very regular, every 3 months. My pressure is right now 5 in each eye.
Wow.
Yeah, which is really great. He's very happy with with my results.
What was the pressure when you first started? Do you remember? 30.
30 and 33.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And you're taking eye drops daily, right? What are some of the side effects of those?
Well, I never knew this, but the doctor had given me a different type of medicine he was working with me on. And a week later, I had a hard time breathing. It was almost like I had an asthma attack. So I called my regular doctor and went in to see him. And he actually had me go through a lot of testing for my heart. And in the meantime, I had an appointment with my eye doctor. So I had gone to see him, and I told him what had happened. And I told him that I had seen my heart doctor 2 days ago. He right away changed my medicine. He said that I was allergic to that eye medicine, and that was the results of taking it, which I was very surprised. So I stopped taking it, and he gave me another medicine, and I was fine after that. So that was one effect. Otherwise, my eyes would be red, burning after a while, and then I'd have to switch again to another eye medicine.
I would imagine that, you do have to change every so often because your body kind of gets used to a certain thing.
Right. That's right. I never used to worry about my vision, but if I had gone sooner, I would have caught it sooner, and my vision wouldn't have been so bad.
Right. I heard that the eye drops can also lower your blood pressure and your pulse.
Well, that is possible because of what had taken place earlier, with the hard to breathe.
Right, right.
So
Wow,
yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No. It's really important to make sure that you take your eye drops and keep that pressure down. It's very important. Otherwise, blindness could rob you of your eyesight.
Well, talking about that and the lowering of the pulse and the blood pressure, that's some pretty serious stuff. I'm glad they were able to figure that out for you. That's some very helpful information for us. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Jean, is there anything that you would like our audience to know about the importance of a yearly eye exam?
Well, not only a yearly exam, but also to tell your family, your children, to go get examined for glaucoma. Anytime they go in for glasses, make sure you get the glaucoma test.
What is the glaucoma test?
Well, it's a pressure test.
Is that puff that they puff?
Yeah, that's what that is. And it tells what your pressure is at.
Okay.
They're not just messing with you there.
Right. So because you have glaucoma,
Yes.
You think that maybe the kids can also get glaucoma.
Well,
it's passed on, right?
True, because one of my sons was diagnosed with glaucoma.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, like I say, it was a good thing I went when I did, even if I didn't have any kind of a symptom.
Right. Well, earlier I promised a little more information on the other types of glaucoma. Besides a page on our website dedicated to the subject, here are some basics. Angle closure glaucoma is also known as acute or narrow angle glaucoma. It's rare, but because the pressure rises rapidly, it's good information to know. Symptoms would include headaches, eye pain, nausea, rainbows around lights at night. So in other words, if you're looking at a light at night and you see a rainbow or a halo around that light, also very blurred vision, that could also imply that you might have this acute pressure, narrow angle glaucoma. Surgery is also required to fix the drainage problem, with follow-ups still important. Ron, can you tell us and fill us in on the low tension or normal pressure glaucoma?
Sure thing, Lita. According to the Glaucoma Research Foundation, doctors really don't know why some people's optic nerves are damaged, even though they have almost normal pressure levels. People that have a family history of normal tension glaucoma, people of Japanese ancestry, and people with a history of systemic heart disease such as irregular heart rhythm. There are other less common types. To find more, please go to the Glaucoma Foundation website, and you'll find a link to their site on our resource page.
That's great. Thanks for that information, Ron. And Graham, I want to thank you for being our guest here today on PodcastDX. And on behalf of the PodcastDX staff and our listeners, we really appreciated all of that information and hope that you will have clear vision for some time to come. Well, for a long time.
Definitely. Stay healthy, Mom.
Thank you. Thank you both.
If you have any questions or comments related to today's show, you can contact us at podcastdx@yahoo.com, through our website, where you can link to our Facebook page and also see more information as we build our site. Please go to podcastdx.com.
And for our listeners, if you have a moment, please give us a 5-star review on iTunes podcast app.